Hello, welcome back. Today's video is all about how our body defends against pathogens. So here's the VCA study design key knowledge. So you need to know about the role of the immune system in detecting and responding to antigens. And you need to know about acquired immunity through natural and passive strategies, including the nature and production of vaccines and antibody serums and their importance in maintaining immunity for a particular disease in the human population. This comes from the VCA study design, okay? Now, to make it easier to get through this, I've broken it down into little goals and success criteria. So basically, by the end of this video, you will be able to describe how human beings defend against pathogens using various technologies. Okay, so technologies such as vaccines, anti-serums, and stuff like that. Success criteria, you will be able to define the term acquired immunity. You will be able to differentiate between innate immunity and acquired immunity and provide examples of each. You will be able to differentiate between passive and active immunity. You will be able to describe the process of passive immunity. You will be able to describe, and define and describe active immunity and differentiate between natural and artificial immunity. So obviously there's quite a few things to get through here. Again, during this video, I'd like you to pause the video when you need to take notes. It's important that you take some notes, okay, so that you can actually study for your exams and for your SACs. Again, do not down each slide because this slide is already available to you on Compass anyway. What I'd like you to do though is just summarize the information in your own words. Finally, I'd like you to enjoy this video. Okay, acquired immunity. Acquired immunity, the word itself is self-explanatory. The word acquired means you already have immunity, okay? This means that you are immune or you are protected against the pathogens prior to being exposed to this pathogen, okay? So it's acquired immunity. You already have immunity against a pathogen before you've been exposed to this pathogen. There are two types of immunity, of acquired immunity. There's the passive type and there's the active type. So basically the passive immunity is when you've been given antibodies, okay? So the antibodies fight the pathogen. It's passive because it's not your body working hard trying to get rid of this pathogen. It's the antibodies are already in your body and they are fighting the pathogens for you. That's why it's passive. Active immunity, it's when you are given like a vaccine that have antigens in the vaccine and then your body goes on detect the antigen and makes new antibodies to fight the pathogen. Okay, so that's the difference. Passive, it's when there's already, you're given antibodies. Active is when you're given the antigens or the variation of a pathogen, and your body goes on and develop immunity against that antigen. Passive immunity. Again, so that's basically what I've just mentioned before. It's you are given antibodies against the pathogen. Venom or toxin is administered usually after infection has occurred. So for example, if you get bitten by a redback spider and you go to hospital, what they are going to give you is antibodies or anti-venom or anti-venom basically. They are going to give it to you and that's going to destroy the pathogen. There is no memory, okay? So if you get bitten by a redback spider, you go to hospital and you get given anti-venom, and 2 weeks later you get bitten by the same redback spider, you'll need to go back to hospital because there's no memory, okay? The reason why there is no memory is because the body's immune system hasn't had the time to recognize the pathogen to create memory cells, okay? This provides short-term immunity against the pathogen. There's two types of passive immunity. There's natural passive immunity. That's when the natural passive immunity is when there's natural transfer of antibodies from a mother to its baby across the placenta or in breast milk. Artificial passive immunity is basically when you go to hospital and people give you antibody serum or antitoxins to provide temporary protection. Now, feel free to pause this video if you need to, jot down some notes, and then come back when you're ready. Welcome back. Active immunity. So active immunity is basically when you are given a vaccine, okay? Basically what's in a vaccine is a less virulent form of a pathogen, attenuated or inactivated pathogen that triggers an immune response, okay? Less virulent means a different form of the same pathogen that is less harmful, that won't really make you sick. What happens is when you are given this vaccine, your body would start producing antibodies as well as memory cells to that pathogen. This is known as active acquired immunity because your body is actively mounting an immune response. Again, here there's natural and there's artificial active immunity. In natural active immunity is when you're basically exposed to a pathogen. Like when you get sick, when you get the common cold, you're actually naturally exposed to the pathogen, causing an immune response. Artificial active immunity is deliberate exposure to an antigen causing an immune response. This is vaccination. This is when you naturally get sick. Active immunity has memory because during the exposure, your body has mounted an immune response and produced memory cells. Okay, it's different to passive immunity where one example of how vaccination has been, actually this is about how the smallpox vaccine was produced. So cowpox and smallpox have very similar outer coats, okay? So their outer protein coats are very similar. Cowpox is less virulent than smallpox. Cowpox doesn't make you sick, whereas smallpox makes you sick. People infected with cowpox would develop symptoms, but they would survive. They wouldn't die from it. And they develop antibodies to cowpox. Those same antibodies work on smallpox, as smallpox and cowpox have identical antigen. And this is how the smallpox vaccine was created. That would be it for today. Next, we are going to talk about innate immunity. I'll see you next time. I hope you've enjoyed this video.